Good morning. Before the world rushes in with its noise, before duties, doubts, and demands try to claim your attention, pause here with me for a moment. This quiet space at the start of your day is sacred. What you speak now, what you feel now, what you agree with now, becomes the law of your day. Words are not just sounds, they are seeds, and every morning, whether you realize it or not, you are planting something in the invisible soil of your life. Today, you choose to plant truth, power, expectation, and joy. Take a gentle breath and feel this. Life is not against you. Life is responding to you. The universe is not testing you, it is listening. And when you speak with calm authority, not desperation, not force, but quiet knowing, everything begins to rearrange itself to meet your word. So this morning, you do not beg for miracles. You welcome them. You do not chase abundance. You recognize it. You do not struggle to be favored. You accept that you already are. Say it inwardly or softly out loud. This is a divinely ordered day. Let that sentence settle. A divinely ordered day means nothing is random, nothing is wasted, nothing is late. The right people, ideas, opportunities, and solutions move toward you naturally, without strain. What is meant for you cannot miss you. As you rise today, you rise with authority. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. Circumstances are at the mercy of spiritual law. And the law responds to your spoken word. Affirm now with confidence. I am guided, protected, and richly provided for. Notice how different this feels from hoping or wishing. This is a declaration. Guidance flows to you in simple ways, an inner nudge, a sudden clarity, a delay that saves you, a conversation that opens a door. Protection surrounds you in seen and unseen ways. Provision does not struggle to reach you, it finds you easily. This morning, release the habit of forecasting problems. The mind may try to rehearse worries, but you gently interrupt it with truth. You do not predict obstacles, you predict outcomes. Say, I expect good, and good rushes to meet me. Expectation is powerful. What you expect, you invite. When you expect delays, you meet them. When you expect conflict, you attract it. But when you expect harmony, assistance, and success, unseen forces go to work on your behalf. Abundance is not something you earn by exhaustion. It is something you align with through understanding. Abundance is your natural state. The supply of the universe is endless, and you are not separated from it. Affirm this deeply. Divine abundance flows to me in perfect ways, not forced ways, not stressful ways, perfect ways. Ways that suit your life, your peace, your dignity. Money, resources, ideas, and support come through channels you may not even be aware of yet. Your responsibility is not to figure out how, it is to stay receptive. This morning, you also release the past. Yesterday has no authority over today. Old mistakes do not define you. Old delays do not limit you. Old disappointments do not predict your future. Say it clearly. I am free from the past, and I move forward unburdened. Freedom is your inheritance. When you stop carrying yesterday, you make room for today's miracles. And miracles do not announce themselves with noise. They often arrive quietly, disguised as ordinary moments that turn out to be extraordinary. As you prepare for your day, speak peace into your body and mind. Your body listens, your nervous system listens. Your cells respond to your words. Affirm gently, I am calm, centered, and divinely energized. You do not need to rush to be productive. Right action unfolds naturally from inner stillness. When you are calm, your decisions are clearer. When you are centered, your timing is perfect. When you are divinely energized, you accomplish more with less effort. Today, you trust life. Trust is not passive. It is powerful. Trust means you act when prompted and rest when guided. You no longer force doors. You allow the right ones to open. Say, I am always in the right place at the right time. This affirmation dissolves anxiety instantly. It reminds you that you cannot miss what is meant for you. Even delays are protections. Even detours are directions. And now, welcome miracles directly. Not someday, not later, now. Declare it with certainty. I welcome miracles today. Miracles are natural. They are simply the result of right alignment. A miracle may look like a sudden solution, an unexpected message, a financial opening, a healed relationship, or a deep inner peace that changes everything. Finally, anchor your morning with gratitude. Not gratitude after the miracle, but gratitude before it. Gratitude is the highest form of faith. It says, I know it is already done. Say with warmth, I give thanks that all my needs are met and more than enough remains. Feel that more than enough. It means overflow. It means generosity. It means ease. When you live from this awareness, life mirrors it back to you. As you step into your day, carry this knowing. You are not walking alone. You are supported by a power that never fails, never forgets, and never withholds what is rightfully yours. Speak well of your day. Speak well of yourself. Speak well of life. And watch how miracles and abundance begin to follow your words, faithfully, effortlessly, and right on time. Every morning, before the phone lights up, before voices, news, memories, or responsibilities begin speaking into your awareness, there is a quiet moment where your mind is still impressionable. In that moment, life is waiting for your instruction. This is why the first words you accept or speak in the morning are not casual, they are authoritative. They are the unseen pen with which you sign the contract of your day. When you wake up already rehearsing worries, checking problems, or predicting difficulty, you unconsciously give permission for those conditions to take shape. But when you rise with intention and speak truth calmly, you establish a higher order that governs everything that follows. Words are living forces. They move before you do. Long before you step into a situation, your spoken word has already entered it. This is why a rushed, anxious morning often produces a rushed, anxious day, while a morning anchored in quiet confidence unfolds with surprising ease. Life mirrors the tone you set. If you speak from fear, fear echoes back. If you speak from authority and peace, peace organizes events on your behalf. You are never just talking. You are always commanding, whether consciously or unconsciously. When you affirm something in the morning, you are not trying to convince the universe. You are reminding yourself of what is already spiritually true. The universe responds to conviction, not volume. A single calm statement spoken with inner agreement carries more power than hours of emotional pleading. This is why morning affirmations must be spoken gently, naturally, without strain. Force implies doubt. Calm declaration implies knowing. And knowing activates law. The mind, especially in the early hours, is open and receptive. It has not yet built its defenses. This is why old spiritual teachings emphasized guarding the first thoughts of the day. Whatever enters first tends to dominate. If the first thought is pressure, the nervous system tightens, perception narrows, and life appears hostile. But if the first thought is order, guidance, and support, the body relaxes, perception widens, and opportunities become visible. The same world exists, but you meet it through a different lens. Speaking order into your morning does not mean denying reality. It means choosing which reality has authority. You may still have responsibilities, challenges, or unanswered questions, but they no longer sit above you. They fall into alignment beneath a higher command. When you say, "This is a divinely ordered day," you are declaring that confusion cannot dominate, delay cannot rule, and chaos cannot take charge. You are not predicting every detail. You are establishing the governing principle. Once that principle is set, life begins to cooperate in subtle ways. Conversations go smoother than expected. Timing works in your favor. You miss what was meant to harm you and encounter what was meant to help you. These are not coincidences. They are the natural effects of right mental direction. The outer world rearranges itself to reflect the inner order you declared at the beginning. Many people believe their day controls their mood, but the truth is the opposite. Your mood, shaped by your first words, controls your day. When you wake up already defeated, life simply confirms it. When you wake up anchored in certainty, life rises to meet that certainty. You do not need dramatic affirmations. You do not need long rituals. A few steady, intentional words spoken with feeling are enough to shift the entire trajectory of the day. Morning words also shape self-concept. How you speak to yourself before the world speaks to you determines how you interpret everything that follows. If you affirm strength, you interpret challenges as manageable. If you affirm favor, you interpret delays as protection. If you affirm guidance, you trust your intuition instead of doubting it. This inner posture changes your decisions, and your decisions change outcomes. Over time, this practice trains the subconscious to expect harmony. What once felt like effort becomes natural. Peace becomes your baseline instead of anxiety. Confidence replaces urgency. And life responds differently to someone who moves with quiet authority. Doors open not because you force them, but because you are aligned with the current that opens them. It is important to understand that these morning declarations are not wishes sent into the future. They are acknowledgments of a present spiritual fact. You are not saying, "I hope today goes well." You are saying, "Today is governed by a higher intelligence." That shift, from hope to knowing, is what makes the words effective. When difficulties arise later in the day, they no longer shake you as deeply. You remember the law you set in the morning. You return to it mentally, and the situation softens. This is why consistent morning affirmations create stability. They give you something firm to stand on when circumstances try to pull you into reaction. Eventually, you realize something profound. You are not preparing for the day. You are commanding it. Not with ego, not with force, but with alignment. The same way a compass does not push the needle but simply aligns it, your words align the flow of events. So each morning, speak with awareness. Speak gently. Speak truth. Let your first words be words of order, support, and expectation. Life will listen, because it always does. Expectation is a silent command. Long before events take shape, expectation decides what is allowed to enter your experience. It is not loud or dramatic, yet it is one of the most powerful forces working in your life every single day. What you consistently expect, you unconsciously prepare for. And what you prepare for, life faithfully delivers. This is why expectation is far more influential than effort. You can work endlessly, but if your inner expectation is disappointment, delay, or struggle, those conditions will find a way to appear. Life does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you assume will happen. Most people are not aware that they are expecting something all the time. The mind quietly predicts outcomes based on habit, memory, and past experience. When you wake up expecting problems, you read neutral situations as negative. When you expect rejection, you misinterpret silence. When you expect lack, you overlook opportunities. Nothing has actually gone wrong yet, but your expectation filters your perception, and perception determines response. This is how expectation becomes self-fulfilling without any conscious intention. Miracles, however, require a different inner posture. They respond to expectancy, not surprise. A miracle is not something shocking to the soul that is aligned. It feels natural to the one who expects good. This is why some people seem to move through life with consistent support and timely breakthroughs. They are not luckier. They are simply accustomed to good outcomes. Their mind does not argue against ease. Their inner world is already prepared to receive it. When you begin to expect good, life rearranges itself in quiet ways. You speak differently. You choose differently. You wait differently. There is less urgency in your actions and more precision. You stop forcing conversations, chasing validation, or pushing outcomes. You trust that what is meant for you is already moving toward you. This trust creates space, and in that space, solutions appear. Expectation also determines emotional response. If you expect difficulty, even small challenges feel heavy. But if you expect support, Even real challenges feel manageable. The same situation exists, yet the experience is entirely different. This is not denial. It is authority. You are choosing which meaning has power over you. One of the most subtle shifts you can make is to stop rehearsing problems before they happen. The mind often does this automatically, imagining worst-case scenarios under the illusion of preparation. But mental rehearsal is not protection, it is invitation. What you mentally practice, you energetically welcome. When you replace this habit with an expectation of favorable outcomes, you are not being naive. You are being aligned with law. Expectation must be calm to be effective. An anxious expectation still carries doubt. It says, I want this to work, but I'm not sure it will. Calm expectation says, of course this will work. Things always align for me. That quiet certainty is powerful. It does not argue. It does not justify. It simply assumes. This is why miracles often arrive in ordinary forms. A phone call, a message, a sudden idea, a delay that turns out to be protection. When you expect miracles, you do not miss them because you are not looking for drama. You are looking for alignment. And alignment is subtle. Abundance responds to the same law. When you expect lack, you notice prices, bills, and limits. When you expect abundance, you notice openings, ideas, resources, and timing. The supply was always present, but expectation determines what you are aware of. Life does not withhold, awareness filters. Changing expectation is not about forcing positive thoughts. It is about gently questioning old assumptions. Instead of asking, what if this goes wrong? You ask, what if this works better than I imagined? That single question opens the mind, and an open mind allows new outcomes. At first, this may feel unfamiliar. The nervous system may resist ease if it is used to tension. But with repetition, expectation recalibrates. Good becomes normal. Support becomes assumed. Struggle loses its authority. You no longer feel surprised when things work out. You feel validated. Over time, expectation becomes your natural state. You walk into situations already assuming cooperation. You enter conversations already expecting understanding. You pursue goals already anticipating progress. And life, faithful and exact, mirrors that expectation back to you. This is the quiet secret behind effortless success and repeated luck. Expectation is not passive, it is directive. It tells life what is welcome and what is not. When you expect miracles and abundance as natural, they no longer feel extraordinary. They feel inevitable. So choose expectation wisely. Expect good without tension. Expect solutions without forcing. Expect abundance without chasing. And watch how life begins to meet you there, again and again, with precision you can no longer dismiss as coincidence. Abundance was never designed to arrive through exhaustion. It does not respond to strain, anxiety, or constant effort. Those things belong to the human belief that life must be hard to be worthy. But abundance moves by a different law. It responds to alignment. When you are aligned inwardly, with trust, clarity, and receptivity, supply flows toward you naturally, often faster than you expected, and through channels you did not plan. Many people unknowingly block abundance by trying to control every detail. They believe that if they relax, things will fall apart. Yet the opposite is true. When you are tense, the mind narrows. When the mind narrows, perception shrinks. And when perception shrinks, you can no longer see the openings that are already present. Abundance requires openness, not pressure. It requires allowing life to assist you instead of insisting on doing everything alone. Alignment begins when you release the idea that you must struggle to deserve provision. Worthiness is not earned through hardship, it is inherent. The moment you accept this inwardly, your relationship with money, opportunity, and success begins to soften. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop forcing outcomes and start recognizing timing. When you are aligned, action still happens, but it feels different. It is not frantic. It is not rushed. It feels guided. You know when to move and when to pause. You are no longer pushing against resistance, you are moving with a current. And because of this, the same amount of effort produces greater results. Struggle often comes from mistrust. It says, if I don't do everything myself, nothing will happen. Alignment says, I am supported by an intelligence greater than my personal effort. This does not make you passive. It makes you precise. You act where you are guided instead of scattering energy everywhere. Abundance also flows through joy. When something feels heavy, forced, or constantly draining, it is often a sign of misalignment. This does not mean you abandon responsibility, but it does mean you pay attention. Alignment brings a sense of rightness, even when work is involved. There is a quiet satisfaction, a sense that you are where you are meant to be. When you trust alignment, unexpected channels open, help arrives, ideas surface, introductions happen. You find yourself in the right conversation at the right moment. None of this feels dramatic. It feels natural. That is how true abundance operates. It does not announce itself with noise. It integrates smoothly into your life. Another sign of alignment is timing. Things begin to happen neither too early nor too late. Delays no longer feel like punishment. They feel like preparation. You realize that what you thought was lost time was actually protection or refinement. Alignment removes the fear of missing out, because you understand that what is meant for you cannot pass you by. Struggle often comes from believing you must decide everything alone. Alignment comes from listening. Inner guidance is subtle, but it is consistent. It speaks through calm impulses, repeated ideas, and a sense of peace around certain choices. When you follow this guidance, abundance follows naturally. Not because you forced it, but because you cooperated with it. As alignment deepens, your relationship with money changes. Money is no longer emotional. It is no longer proof of worth or failure. It becomes a tool, a flow, a response. You give when guided. You receive without guilt. You trust circulation instead of hoarding or fearing loss. And life responds to that trust with stability. One of the greatest shifts happens when you stop measuring progress only by effort. You realize that ease is not laziness, it is efficiency. When things come easily, it does not mean you cheated the system, it means you are in harmony with it. Nature does not struggle to grow, it responds to conditions. You are no different. Alignment also requires letting go of comparison. The moment you measure your path against someone else's, you move out of your own flow. Your provision has its own rhythm. Your success has its own timing. When you honor that, abundance meets you exactly where you are, without confusion or conflict. Over time, life begins to feel cooperative instead of resistant. You stop asking, "Why is this so hard?" and start noticing how often things work out. Even challenges feel purposeful rather than defeating. You trust that every step is leading somewhere meaningful. Abundance, then, is not something you chase. It is something you allow by staying aligned. When your thoughts are calm, your expectations clear, and your actions guided, supply moves toward you naturally. You were never meant to force life. You were meant to work with it. Gratitude is not a reaction to success. It is the cause of it. Most people wait for visible proof before they give thanks, believing gratitude should follow results. But spiritual law works in reverse. Gratitude offered in advance is a declaration of certainty. It says, without words, "I know this is already arranged." And life responds powerfully to that knowing. Gratitude is not emotional excitement or forced positivity. It is quiet confidence in the unseen. When you give thanks before circumstances change, you shift your inner position. You move from waiting to receiving. Waiting implies doubt. Receiving implies trust. This shift alone alters how situations unfold. The mind relaxes, resistance dissolves, and solutions surface naturally. Gratitude opens the door that effort cannot force open. True gratitude is calm and settled. It does not beg. It does not rush. It simply acknowledges alignment. This is why it is so effective. The universe responds to certainty, not urgency. When you express gratitude as if something is already done, you remove contradiction. There is no inner argument left, only agreement. And agreement activates law. Gratitude also refines perception. When you are grateful, you begin to notice what is already working instead of what is missing. This does not mean ignoring challenges. It means refusing to let them dominate your awareness. Whatever dominates your awareness expands. Gratitude gently redirects focus, and life follows that focus. Many people unknowingly block abundance by constantly monitoring lack. They count what is missing, what is late, what is not enough. Even when they affirm abundance, their attention contradicts their words. Gratitude resolves this conflict. It unifies thought and feeling. It says, "Even now, I recognize supply." When gratitude becomes a habit, anxiety loses its grip. Fear cannot coexist with sincere appreciation. The nervous system calms, the body relaxes, and from that relaxed state, clearer decisions emerge. Right action follows right feeling. This is why gratitude accelerates change. It removes inner friction. Gratitude also dissolves impatience. When you are grateful now, you no longer feel behind. You stop measuring yourself against time. You trust timing instead of fighting it. This trust allows events to line up smoothly, without the emotional strain that often delays outcomes. Offering thanks before evidence also strengthens faith. Not blind faith, but grounded confidence. You are not pretending. You are acknowledging a deeper reality. What exists spiritually must eventually appear physically. Gratitude bridges that gap. It keeps you aligned during the unseen phase when results are forming. As you practice this, you notice something subtle but powerful. Life responds faster. Not because you demand speed, but because you remove resistance. Delays shrink. Misunderstandings resolve. Opportunities arrive in simple ways. Gratitude clears the path. Gratitude also shifts identity. You no longer see yourself as someone trying to get something, but as someone who lives in provision. This self-concept changes how others respond to you. People sense ease, they sense trust, and they cooperate naturally. Even challenges begin to feel different. When you give thanks during uncertainty, you affirm that the outcome is already held. This does not mean every situation feels pleasant, but it does mean it feels purposeful. You trust that nothing is wasted. This trust transforms experience. Over time, gratitude becomes effortless. You no longer practice it as a technique, it becomes a state. And from that state, life continues to expand. More appears, not because you asked harder, but because you made room. Gratitude before results is the highest form of faith because it does not need proof. It knows. And when you know, life aligns. What once felt distant begins to feel natural. Abundance flows, peace settles, and change arrives, not dramatically, but consistently. So give thanks now, not later, not conditionally, now. And watch how life responds with precision, generosity, and ease.